Christ Covenant Church, it's Pastor Jason, and I am looking forward to gathering with you this Sunday as we continue through our series in the Gospel of John, that you may believe. And this Sunday, we are going to finish out John chapter 6, and I hope that you have gotten as much out of John chapter 6 as I have, as seek to proclaim the word on Sundays. And this week we will be looking at John chapter 6, verses 52 through 71. You know, the question becomes, when it comes to the gospel, if this is such good news, then why is it not easier to convince more people to believe and to follow Jesus? And how is it that this good news of the gospel is offensive to people? How can it be both good news and an offense? We know that when we read Paul's writings, he talks about the gospel of Jesus Christ being a stumbling block to both Jews and to Gentiles, and an offense, that the message of the cross is an offense. Well, we're going to see where this idea of Jesus' message being an offense plays out in the Gospel of John. Up until this scene, the popularity of Jesus has just risen, and more people have followed Jesus up until the point where he fed 5,000 men plus women and children. And so it seems that he had at least 20,000 now who were following him and were watching him as he was daily healing people from sicknesses. And so there was a lot of reasons to follow Jesus in that northern part of Galilee where Jesus was doing his ministry. Yet here in this text, we see a huge majority of those people walk away and no longer follow Jesus. The offense of Jesus' words, his message, comes on full display in this passage, and so many leave. It reminds me of the passage I pointed to last week in 1 John, where John writes to a church that had a lot of people leave once the persecution came and once things got difficult. They were no longer following Jesus, and John wrote, they went out from us because they were not of us. They had not been truly born by the Spirit of God to new and spiritual life. And in this passage, we're going to see that a lot of Jesus' followers did not truly have the Spirit of God. They were truly not born again by the Spirit of God. And so they take offense to the Word of God. It's true in our culture today. So much of the time, people are happy to have the works of Jesus. If you want to bring more justice to a society, or if you want to love and serve people, they are happy for you to show the works of Jesus. But where the rubber meets the road, where the offense happens, is when you start speaking the words of Jesus. When you start saying things like, Jesus is God. Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus died in our place for our sin, so that we might be forgiven and freed to newness of life. It's the words of Jesus that offend the sinner and the dead heart. And so with those thoughts in your mind, read John chapter 6, verses 52 through 71, and I will look forward to gathering to worship Jesus through the preaching of his word this Sunday morning.